Hello again. If there was a prize for the most deceptive and dishonest newspaper headline of the year, then the Metro, the newspaper handed out free to London commuters, would romp home a couple of lengths ahead of the rest of the field. Today they announced, as over a major triumph of government policy, 84 in and 113 out. This was, of course, in reference to the deal which Britain struck with France lately, whereby every time we return an illegal immigrant to them, they will send us in exchange a legal immigrant. Although, of course, of the same character and ethnicity as the other illegal immigrants making their way across the English Channel in small boats. Saying 84 in and 113 out, a line obviously fed to newspapers by the government, suggests that we are deporting more illegal immigrants than are entering the country. A triumph, a success for Keir Starmer's far-sighted and wise diplomacy. A hit, a palpable hit. In short, we have deported 113 illegal immigrants to France and been sent in return just 84. So the net figures for the deal mean that we have reduced immigration from that source by 29. This is, of course, no more than a barefaced lie. We may well have reduced illegal immigration across the Channel by 29, but since the scheme began, no fewer than 8,000 illegal immigrants have crossed the Channel and are now being accommodated in hotels in this country. Of course, a headline reading 8,000 in, 29 out would not sound nearly so impressive. Is it humanly possible that nobody reading that newspaper headline is capable of seeing the sheer falsity and deceit of the thing? I fear so. I suppose that in a way one cannot really blame the government for playing tricks like that upon us. Before the general election, they were claiming that the way to stop the small boats was by smashing the gangs. But I notice that since they won the election, less has been said on that subject. Since the gangs operate in countries like Albania and France, where our writ does not run, there is, of course, nothing that we can actually do against them. I suppose we could take a leaf from the Israeli playbook and launch airstrikes against the bases of the gangs, while at the same time assassinating their leaders by missiles and drones, but I have an idea that this might sour our relationship with the French. Short of that, there is nothing to be done. Trust me, the only possible way of dealing with the invasion of young men from Africa and Asia would be to use the armed forces to impose a cordon sanitaire along the coast at that point, and to be utterly ruthless in deterring any and all incursions of our territorial waters, even at the risk of seeing loss of life among those hoping to enter the country illegally. To speak bluntly, I doubt it would take more than one or two such deaths before those gathered on the beaches of France preparing to launch those small boats got the message that there was nothing doing anymore and that the game had changed. I'm guessing that within a fortnight at most, nobody would be trying to launch small boats anymore, and the problem would have been solved. The question which we need to ask ourselves is a simple one. Is our territorial integrity and the security of our borders worth one or two deaths? In case this sounds horribly cold-hearted and callous, perhaps I might remind viewers that the situation in the English Channel is already causing deaths, although on the streets of Britain rather than in the middle of the Channel itself. This is not a choice between one or two deaths or no deaths at all. Asylum seekers who have arrived in this country have killed people living here. If I am faced with a choice, and this really is the choice which we face, between one or two illegal immigrants being killed at sea while attempting to enter this country illegally, and one or two British people killed on the streets here by illegal immigrants who have managed to slip across the border, then I'm bound to say I would prefer the deaths not to be of British people in Britain, but instead of foreigners at sea.